The story that I want to tell you now is the story of my time here at Peace. The scripture that Whitney just read was from Paul. He wrote it while in prison, exhorting those in the church in Ephesus, the church he had planted, to be united, to live in community, and to remember, in other words, who they were. But I especially like Paul for what he asked the church to do, to live a life worthy of the calling they had received. When I came to Peace College, I was infuriated when I discovered I would have to attend weekly chapel. No one told me before I came. It was not in any of the admissions literature. No one had mentioned that little fact. I'm not sure I would have come if they had. I stalked into the chapel's office furious. It wasn't Ashley, it was a woman named Carla Jean Miller, and I told her I would not go to chapel. She was less than impressed. I had to go. It was a graduation requirement. I think you all know that. I wish that I could tell you that I had listened to God that year, that I had seen what he was doing in my life when he brought me to those chapels. But I sat through that year, despising being there, going only because I had to. I would stand, but I would not sing. I would listen, but I would not hear. I continued on down the road, completely unaware that God was waiting right there to knock me off my own high horse. Not literally, of course. I wasn't really riding a horse down the road. But still, there I was, lying on the ground. Sin and brokenness had laid me out so flat, I had no idea how to get up. I would go to church, and I would sit there, and I would cry, because I had no idea how to face it or what to do about it. I sat in church sobbing one night, and a guy I hardly knew, Jared Mercer, came up to me. He really forced me to a Bible study. We called them home groups in my church. I went, became incredibly close to those people, and really got to know Jesus for the first time. I want to tell you about some of the people that I've met through community, how they've shown me Jesus, and what that means for me and my relationship with God. It's funny, I met each of these three people through my church, through community groups. My broken, wrecked, imperfect, frustrating, beautiful church. The first is Jared Mercer. He's the guy who invited me back to that Bible study. He's also the guy who helped me pick myself up after my life fell apart. Now, I love Jared, and I love his wife, Chelsea, and I especially love their baby, Noah Caden. He's the most precious child in the world. I will take no arguments on this. I do not always like the things that Jared tries to tell me. I do not like that he is more conservative than I am. I do not really enjoy it when we disagree theologically, as he speaks Greek and reads Hebrew, and that puts me at a little bit of a disadvantage in an argument. It can be uncomfortable, you know, sitting across the table from someone you love and he's saying something that you can't even begin to agree with. Paul tells me, though, how I'm supposed to act. He says, be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. That's a challenge, isn't it, when you disagree with someone? Our culture tells us to throw up our hands, pound our fist on the table, and yell until we're the ones who are heard. Sometimes he makes me really angry, but I walk away from those conversations about hot topics, women in ministry, marriage, child rearing. I walk away from those conversations sure of two things. One is that Jared Mercer loves me and is my friend, and two, disagreeing is okay. The second person I want to tell you about is my best friend in the entire world. Like I said earlier, she's a senior at Meredith, but I try and forgive her for that. It's a process. I'm still working on it. You should have come to Peace. She's the only one I can go to when my head's about to pop off because of the stress of school. Her answer when I rant is usually, oh, friend, that is unfortunate. She's smart, she's funny, she's witty. She's also the one I complain to when Jared tells me something I don't want to hear. When I'm upset and ranting about something, her other answer is most likely, I know. I know. Whitney is amazingly passionate, amazingly passionate. She introduced me to an organization called To Write Love on Her Arms. If you haven't heard of Twiloha, their mission is to help end the cycle of self-abuse, drug abuse, and other self-harming behaviors. They want to, as they say, stop the bleeding. Part of Twiloha's mission states, you were created to love and be loved. You were meant to live life in relationships with other people, to know and be known. You need to know that your story is important and that you're the part of a bigger story. You need to know that your life matters. It is Whitney who has told me time and time again, like Twaloha, that my life matters, my story matters, and my choices matter. That can be an uncomfortable lesson to learn, can't it? We make decisions, we live our lives for ourselves, whatever makes us happy, whatever we want to do, whatever makes us comfortable. Twaloha, Whitney, and Jesus, they ask us to live outside ourselves. Community and following Christ is anything but comfortable. The third and final person I want to tell you about is one half of a married couple. Justin and his wife Rebecca have become my friends only recently in the past 6 months or so. Rebecca's an inspiration, a beautiful woman with a soothing, enlightening spirit. She's the kind of person you meet and you say, I want to be friends with her. It was her husband Justin, however, that stunned me one night. I was sitting on their couch, having stayed with them for a couple of weeks when I was going through a difficult time. School's a little stressful your senior year, I'll go ahead and warn you. I was telling them that I didn't want to impose on them by staying any longer. Justin, who had previously been staring off into space and I presumed ignoring me, sat forward and looked me in the eye and said, I want you to know that you have intrinsic value and you give something to us just by being here. Just by being here, you give something to us. I sat back and I almost cried. How often has anyone told you that? It's not about what you do, it's not about what you say. Merely by showing up, you are valuable. It's pivotal and I haven't been able to stop thinking about that. I'm getting ready to leave Peace College. Next year I'll be serving as an AmeriCorps Vista volunteer doing what Jessica Baxter does on our campus, but at Mars Hill in Asheville. I'll get to meet other college students, although I won't be one anymore. Weird. I'll get to work with them. I hope to inspire them. I know I'll love them. I hope together we can do God's work. Raleigh's my comfort zone. I was going to work at Meredith because I love Raleigh. God slammed that door in my face and told me it was time to leave. It's hard to leave. I don't want to leave my community, my friends, this school, my church, my city. But that's where God's leading me, and my community and my friends and these people that I told you about, they give me the foundation to go. That's what a community does, you see. It pushes, challenges, stretches, loves, comforts, enlightens, grows, strengthens, builds. It prepared me to go forward, to, as Bobby Kennedy once spoke of, make ripples of change to tear down mighty walls of oppression and resistance. I want to close with some words by Donald Miller, author of Blue Like Jazz and Through Painted Deserts. If you haven't read these, you really should, no lie. He said, we get one story, you and I, one story alone. God has established the elements, the setting, and the climax and the resolution. It would be a crime not to venture out, wouldn't it? It might be time for you to go. It might be time to change, to shine out. I want to repeat one word for you. Leave. Roll the word around on your tongue for a bit. It's a beautiful word, isn't it? So strong and forceful, the way you've always wanted to be. And you will not be alone. You have never been alone. Don't worry. Everything will still be here when you get back. It is you who will have changed. As I get ready to leave Peace College, I envy you. I wish so much that I had more time here left to explore, to learn, to be with these people and in this city that I love. But I'm done here. So learn from an older voice of experience. I know you hate it when people say that. I really do too. I'm so sorry. Remember to trust in God. Seek out friends. Seek out community that will love you and challenge you and push you and encourage you. Remember that you are a part of a larger story. Leaving doesn't mean going somewhere else. For you in this season of your life, it might mean owning what you are called to do. Being a student here, doing well in your classes, making friends with the people that you think are below you, serving others. And remember, the time will come when God calls you to leave this place and spread your wings. And when that time comes, remember, He is with you, He loves you, and you, my dearest Peace sisters, are so valuable to Him.